The Fantastic Four, Marvel's first family and one of the most iconic superhero teams of all time, have finally returned to the big screen for the first time in a decade. This time around, we have a brand new cast, an alternate Earth set in the futuristic retro 60s, and the WandaVision showrunner steering the ship. So, how does this fresh new take stack up against what came before? Let's find out. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and movie lovers of all kind, and welcome back to the channel. As always, I am your host, Brett Murphy, and for today's video, I have a brand new ranking for you all, as I am going to be ranking every Fantastic Four movie, including the brand new The Fantastic Four First Steps. Before I hop into the actual video itself, I just wanted to let you all know that I have an entire playlist dedicated to all of my ranking videos. We have well over 100, if not upwards of 200 videos currently on that playlist for you to enjoy. So if ranking videos are your thing, then be sure to check that out, and I guarantee you'll find something you like. And if by some chance you don't, then feel free to suggest something you might like. And so without further ado, let's hop right into things. In 5th place is Roger Corman's unreleased 1994 The Fantastic Four. I'm not going to spend too much time on this one because there's really no need to. It went unreleased for a reason, and if you're morbidly interested for whatever reason, you can find it for free pretty easily just about anywhere. YouTube, Dailymotion, wherever. It's hot garbage, but I guess it could be an interesting watch for all of you historians and completionists out there. Be warned though, it's shit quality, as only rips of the VHS exist. Honestly, you'd be better off watching the 2015 documentary Doomed, that dives into what exactly went wrong with this monstrosity. It's marginally better than the actual movie, too. I also won't straight up say this is the worst Fantastic Four movie, because I don't typically consider it when talking about or ranking these movies, given that, once again, it went unreleased. But I figured, what the hell, why not include it on today's video? In 4th place, the true last place spot is Fantastic Four 2015 or Fant4stick. This one is so obviously and clearly the worst of the bunch. Whether it was doomed from the start, or as Josh Trank said in a career-tanking statement, the victim of studio meddling. I guess we'll never truly know the full story of what went on behind the scenes, but either way, the finished product as is a dumpster fire through and through. The worst part is, this had all the ingredients to be something truly special. A top-notch cast with the likes of Miles Teller, Michael B. Jordan, Jamie Bell, and Kate Mara, plus Toby Kebbell as the villainous Victor Von Doom, and a highly sought-after up-and-coming director in the form of Josh Trank, hot off his smash hit debut, Chronicle. Not to mention, the movie had a solid budget of $120 million behind it, so the visuals shouldn't have been an issue either. But alas, it wasn't meant to be. In the end, we received a dull, bleak, dark, poorly constructed, ugly, and worst of all, boring adaptation that paled in comparison to the flawed but fun early 2000s movies. I kid you not when I say this movie has no redeeming qualities. It takes itself way too seriously, the visuals are horrendous, the story is all over the place, the performances are wooden, and everything is needlessly dark and drab. Regardless of whose fault it was, this movie sucks. In 3rd place, Fantastic Four. I went back and forth between having this one or Rise of the Silver Surfer in 3rd, which is a spoiler, I guess, but come on, it should be obvious which movie is going to be in 1st place, because it's the only real, true answer, and it's bound to be the same for every single ranking you watch. I do have some nostalgia for this movie, I will say. I went to see it with my dad one weekend while my mom was away, and we were having a boys' weekend, back when I was still also an only child, too. So, naturally, memories like this are always going to stick out and be looked back on fondly, which helps to elevate this movie at least a little bit. That being said, this is an early 2000s movie through and through. The style, the humor, the visuals, the everything. It dropped in 2005 and it's aged like a movie made in 2005 meant for a 2005 audience. Not to say every element of it aged poorly or anything. In fact, I still love the practical suit for the Thing, and I think Johnny's VFX in particular still holds up pretty well. But it's super cheesy, corny, and loaded with humor that doesn't always land. Plus some wonky visuals and at times a clear misunderstanding of the source material. I think that corny, cheesy style does work with some characters in some stories when done right, but here it doesn't. It's just a byproduct of its time. Remember, this was back when comic book movies were still in their infancy and trying to prove themselves. Every studio wasn't trying to get a slice of the pie or start a shared universe. Some worked and some didn't. Some made money and some flopped horrendously, and so studios often did everything they could to ensure they'd be financially successful, including but not limited to casting hot people, changing story elements around to make them seem more cool or modern, and trying to find every possible way to not alienate general audiences. Basically just watering it down a bunch so it's very easily accessible. There's plenty to love here, particularly the approach to The Thing and his whole arc. Plus, who doesn't love Chris Evans? But nostalgia has also definitely blinded some people to this movie's many, many flaws and shortcomings. It's enjoyable, especially if you grew up with it like me, but I don't know if I'd even classify it as a good movie. I'd say it's a guilty pleasure at best. In second place, basically by default, is Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. Funnily enough, I'd probably score Rise of the Silver Surfer the exact same as its 2005 predecessor. I feel basically the exact same about both movies. The positives, the negatives, the somewhere in the middles. But what gives this movie the slight edge is the Silver Surfer himself. He's awesome, there's no two ways about it. Doug Jones's physical performance and Lawrence Fishburne's voice work pair together perfectly, giving us a brilliant character that isn't really a hero or a villain, who also happens to have some genuinely kick-ass moments. Yes, Galactus is a cloud and that sucks, but again, we were still in 2006/2007 when this movie was being made, and the reviews for the first movie weren't too kind. So I'm not shocked they didn't make a purple-armored, planet-eating giant spaceman. They were really in a no-win situation with this one, as comic book movies, beyond a few outliers, still weren't proven box office hits or critical darlings, so studios went out of their way to do what they thought would minimize risk. Once again though, the visuals range from, hey, that's actually pretty good, to, holy shit, that's bad. And honestly, the same can be said about the humor and dialogue. The cast is still all around decent, and again, the prosthetic work on The Thing is top-notch. I flip back and forth between this one and the '05 original. Ask me tomorrow and they could swap places. We are in the age of revisionism right now too, and that's never been more clear than seeing people hopelessly try to use cherry-picked clips from these two movies as a way to try and dunk on the new movie. But I myself and many others are never going to fall for it. These movies just are what they are. They are fun movies when you're in the right mood, especially if you're nostalgic for them, but I can't really see how they can be deemed good movies in almost any way. They have some good, even great elements, but the complete package comes nowhere near the likes of, say, Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy, or the early X-Men movies, or pretty much anything that followed these first two F4 movies from like 2008 up to today. And in first place, obviously, is the Fantastic Four: First Steps. I want to start by saying I had a really good time with this movie. It's well made and a lot of fun. But having said that, it's not without its issues either. A lot of them stemming from the fact that it feels very safe and been there, done that. On the positive side, I loved the retro futuristic setting. I loved the cast, and it was cool to see Galactus finally, at least mostly, done justice on the big screen. I was also a big fan of how the movie handled the public's reception of the F4. It was just refreshing to see that level of love for the heroes of the story, which I feel has been severely lacking lately. Visually, the movie is gorgeous. The setting, Galactus, Silver Surfer, who was also great by the way, shout out to Julia Garner, each member's powers, and oh yeah, The Thing looking the best he ever has. Plus, Michael Giacchino's brilliant score. On the negative side though, I can easily sum it up by repeating what I opened with. It feels very safe. There's nothing in here that surprised me, I don't feel like there were any real stakes, no one ever felt in danger, and personally I felt like there were 15 to 20 minutes cut out somewhere in here. This may also be a bit of a nitpick to some, but I thought they could have made Galactus bigger or showed him using his ability to alter his size. Instead, he's just a big dude with a bigger ship, and he doesn't actually eat the planets himself, which was a bummer. There may be comic storylines out there that I'm not overly familiar with where this is the way things go, but I'm used to him being this giant planet-eating dude. Though I would like to reiterate that the Silver Surfer was great, with plenty of standout moments. However, she does feel wasted in the last third, which sort of sucked. In the end, the best way I can describe the movie is just by repeating myself again. It's a very fun, but safe and ultimately predictable Marvel movie. It's the first truly great, or even just good for that matter, Fantastic Four movie, and there's a lot to love in here, but I personally wanted more. Despite it being super enjoyable and easy to watch, it felt pretty generic, but nevertheless, it easily clears the competition. Like, it's funny how not even remotely close this list was. The others are just way behind it. So that is all for today's video, folks. Be sure to let me know down in the comments below if you agree or disagree with my ranking. While you're at it, don't forget to let me know how you would rank every Fantastic Four movie. Plus, I want to know what you thought about the Fantastic Four first steps. Did it work for you? Is Marvel back? Or did it miss the mark? Comment below and let me know. As a reminder, this is the revamped BAMTube Movies, and it is your one-stop for everything movies, be it ranking videos like this one, video essays, top 10s versus videos, tier list videos, I have it all and so much more, along with your daily nerdy news wrap-ups, a series of shorts where I keep you up to date on everything movies, gaming, and TV related. So be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and ring that little bell icon so you don't miss a thing. As always, folks, I thank you all so very much for watching. Stay happy, healthy, and safe out there. From myself and the rest of the BAMTube team, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time, and that's a wrap.